It was a quiet day at Mamprobi Polyclinic in Accra, Ghana, but what followed will actually send shockwaves through the community. Just hours after a newborn baby was actually delivered or born by C-section, the unimaginable was happening, ladies and gentlemen. The infant or baby was actually stolen right away from the hospital. CCTV footage captured a woman disguised as a nurse leaving the facility with the baby wrapped against her chest, and this happened to be the real footage. Okay, she actually moved through the corridors with a sense of urgency, unnoticed by most, but the family, anxiously waiting for news, soon realized something was actually categorically wrong, ladies and gentlemen. Now guess what? As relatives confronted the staff, the situation became even more troubling. Security measures at the hospital were actually questioned, and of course calls for immediate answers grew louder. The baby's mother, still recovering from surgery, was actually devastated, ladies and gentlemen. You could actually imagine. The Ghana Police Service quickly took over the case, launching an effective investigation. Authorities appealed to the public for help in identifying the suspect, whose image was actually circulated widely on the internet. What seems like an ordinary day in a busy hospital, ladies and gentlemen, was now at the center of a nationwide search. But this was only the beginning. As the hours passed, tension began to rise. Now, before we actually proceed more into this, please make sure to like, subscribe, and turn on your notification bell, because we are here to give you an analysis on African related development every single day. So just do the needful to become an important member of. In the hours that followed, the search for the stolen baby intensified. Police began their investigation, but the situation didn't actually end there. With each new piece of information, the case took unexpected things. Guess what? The woman who has taken the baby left behind a trail, and the authorities were actually quick to act. The suspect sister became a key figure in the investigation. Guess what? She actually received she actually received a call from her sibling, which is the suspect, claiming she had actually just given birth, and inviting her over to visit. But when the sister saw the baby, she immediately and instantly recognized him. It was the new born taken from Mamprobi Polyclinic, ladies and gentlemen. The sister wasted no time. Of course, she contacted the police, the Ghana Police Service.
Gloria Kolanu, yes, his sister. Her friend, his sister, say, Wawuba, and see, Omesha Kolanu. And so this who said, and so
authorities were able to actually track down the woman and of course make an arrest. The baby was actually found safe, and of course just hours later the mother was actually reunited with the baby or the child. This development, ladies and gentlemen, brought a sense of relief to the family, but the case was far from over. The police continued their work, gathering evidence and of course speaking to witnesses, trying to piece together how this breach of security could have actually happened. As the investigation unfolded, ladies and gentlemen, the story began to actually have broader implications. Now, questions about hospital safety and of course the trust in medical institutions arose. The incident not only rattled the local community but raised alarm across the country. The breakthrough came when the police made an arrest. The woman was actually taken into custody, and of course the baby was actually brought back to his mother at the Dansuman police station. The community breathed a collective sigh of relief, but questions actually remained. In a statement, ladies and gentlemen, the Ghana Police Service confirmed the arrest and assured the public that investigation were actually ongoing.
We found the baby. We want to say a big thank you to the whistleblower. We also want to say a big thank you to the police that they've been able to work to get the baby reconciled to the mother, or united with the mother. Today, as we speak this morning, the police can attest that yes, that is the baby. The parents have confirmed, and then the suspect is in the custody of the police. I want to thank my colleagues in Parliament, Honorable Ko Vandapoy, and then Reverend Adu, Kweku Adu, for their cooperation. I mean, when I called them early this morning, they've all been here and they've been on the case as well, and we've been able to make into the case. We are going to follow it to make sure that baby, mother, and then everybody is safe.
Whilst the suspect had been not caught, the circumstances surrounding the theft remained unclear. Categorically was not unclear. Now the question for you, ladies and gentlemen, is simple. Was the woman acting alone, or was there a larger network behind the crimes? Police response to the incident was actually mixed. Many expressed their relief at the safe was not returned of the child, but others couldn't actually shake the feeling of betrayal. Now the question is very simple. How could a person entrusted with care steal a newborn from a hospital? In response, ladies and gentlemen, the government acted quickly. President John Dramani Mahama, through the gender minister, donated to the baby named Kwame Valentine on behalf of the government. MPs from Ablekuma South and of course West, as well as Ododio constituency, joined in offering support to the family.
On behalf of His Excellency John Dramani Mahama and the Ministry of Gender, Children and Social Protection, and the 3 MPs from Ablekuma South, Ablekuma West, and then Ododio. And on behalf of the hospital, we are making this little donation to baby Kwame Valentine. He's not been named. This is just he was born on the 14th, so I'm just giving him that name. And then we are donating a token, and then the items you see here. And the Ministry of Gender is also been asked by His Excellency to take up the medical bill of the baby and the mother. And so this morning, this is the support we are offering to mother and child. And I want to say once again, thank you to you all for following up with the case until this breakthrough has come. Thank you.
The hospital also made effort to assist, showing solidarity with those affected by the crime. The situation sparked a larger conversation about safety in hospitals and of course the need for better oversight. Now, ladies and gentlemen, if you are not yet part of this community, we need you, because we know that important figures like you can actually help us push forward Ghanaian and African stories or development like this to many people who stay unupdated. As the case moved toward resolution, attention shifted or changed to the future. Now the question is very simple. What will actually happen next? Could this actually happen again? The long-term impact of this case was actually beginning to take shape. There were discussions about how hospitals and of course healthcare institutions could actually improve security to prevent incidents like this in the future. The government promised to review safety protocols, and of course many believe that this tragedy could actually lead to positive change. For the family, the journey was actually far from over. Though they had been reunited, the emotional toll onto the mother and of course the child could not actually be overlooked or ignored. The support for the public, however, was actually overwhelming. It showed a united front in the face of absurdity. Thank you so much for watching this video, ladies and gentlemen. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and push this video to someone who has never actually seen this yet.